we've had a problem here.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main beam undervolt.
Roger, main B undervolt. Okay, stand by, 13. We're looking at it.
All right, welcome everybody that's watching here. This is Space Traders, where you might know the price of your stock, but we can tell you its value. I am here with Scot. How do you pronounce your last name?
Breithaupt.
Breithaupt. How many years have we been friends for?
It's been a while. 8, 7?
8, 7, yeah.
Yeah.
8, 7 years.
Something like
So
that.
we've been friends, we've been playing sports, and it turns out that Scott was actually formerly part of the Wolfpack Stocks Group, which is a research group. You've probably heard about it. And he actually moved over to Space Traders. So we appreciate your patronage. We appreciate that. Scott is an acclaimed researcher, and I've been doing a little bit of research here on this. We're going to just jump right in. We're looking at LAC, which is Lithium Americas Corp. Ironically, it is, yes, thank you for the visual on that. Thank you. It is ironically owned, it's a Canadian group, and it's located, their central office is located in Canada. Today, we're talking about lithium, and just to kind of put the trees out of the way and look at the forest for a second here. Lithium, even so it's only 2% of electric batteries for electric vehicles, also for automation and robots, as that is a definite growing field. It is an essential part of the battery. Yes, there is nickel, and that would be for another show. Nickel does comprise about 60% of typical batteries and energy storage used for electric vehicles, robots, home battery storage as well. We know SunPower has the SunPack, Tesla has their battery. So there's just a wide array of applications for lithium. And in terms of nickel, that's something we can do on another actual podcast here, or whatever you want to call this. Let's get into lithium. There are 3 big lithium companies in the world. We have Albemarle, ALB, we have Squirm, SQM, and FMC. You got me into Lithium America a couple of months ago, and I bought it at 18. It shot up to 27. Now it's at 21. Tell me, give me some backstory about what you want to tell us about this product here.
Yeah, so Lithium Americas, like you said, is Canadian-based. They're a miner, so they just go out and find this stuff, dig it up, process it, and then send it off to a plant to make batteries. And they're looking to become one of the bigger players in the mining industry. They've mined before, but the previous mines they closed down. They do have 2 under construction now, one that will start producing this year down in Argentina. And then another one here in the state of Nevada, in northern Nevada, in a spot called the Thacker Pass, which is my photo in the background. This is the actual Thacker Pass.
Ah, okay.
So okay. You'll see it here. So yeah, and the Thacker Pass is supposed to, from local researchers like from University of Nevada, they went and done some surveying and dug up I think it's like 700 holes or something to see how much lithium's in these different spots. And this is supposed to be the biggest source of lithium that has been found yet. And it's easily accessible.
The biggest source is accessible. That's kind of a loaded statement for a couple of reasons here. One, it's definitely positive if you just look at it at its face value. Upon research, though, and I'm just going to play counterpoint. That's what we do. We provide point and counterpoint to get meaning. You know, you need to compare things. A piece of paper, well, a stapler doesn't have a lot of meaning if paper doesn't exist. So let's compare for a second here. Yeah, it's one of the largest deposits found in America, but America only has, they're 7th in the world right now in terms of supplying lithium to the market. They only supply 1.2%. And so it's a very young, underdeveloped process in the United States. And it might stay that way um, because of all of our environmental laws. If you look at the 6 competitors ahead, you're looking at Argentina, you're looking at Australia, which is number 1, China's number 2. There are some countries in Africa that are in there as well. And all those countries have very lax environmental laws. So what's your take on that? I mean, yeah, it's the biggest one in America found, but is that going to help because nobody else is going to be allowed to mine? I mean, how difficult was it to get the Thacker Pass approved?
Well, it's been a project since I think 2000. I want to see 2000. I think that they first initiated it in 2008, if I remember right. And it wasn't until January that they got approval to finally do any kind of mining. So they've gone through a lot of environmental reports. Was that EIRs or something like that? So it took a long time to get there. And you're 100% right about the environmental concerns. So that's been one of the biggest things that's held back the United States in the last 50 years in general is environmental concerns. So being environmentally responsible with mining, and not just for lithium, but that goes for things like gold and silver and platinum and other things that get mined here. The thing is, we have to play by a lot more rules to make sure we're doing it safe and not polluting our environment. As to where places like China, there's really no rules. It's like they can do whatever they want. That there's a reason why they've been the one place that have done recycling for most of our electronics until recently, because they didn't mind ruining their environment to leach
Right.
out
They're
chemicals.
finally saying we that's just a wow, that's a bird walk for another whole topic in terms of recyclables and how China's not taking our recyclables anymore. So that's just piling up.
Yeah.
Sticking with LAC just for a second here, and this could be a positive thing. They have set up the infrastructure to handle the needs of the mining. They've purchased a water farm nearby already, so they've gone through that process. In terms of environmentals, it takes 500,000 gallons of water to produce 1 ton of lithium. So yeah, I mean, there is environmental ethics to it, so purchaser, keep that in mind of lithium stock. But with LAC, they've gotten the approval. They've purchased the water farms necessary. Production is looking at October, but that's not really going to be the immediate short-term determinant of the stock price. Let's talk about Argentina for a second here, and that's the let me see if I get this right here, the Cuachori-Olorarez project, which they have an interest in, not 100%. And now that's different from the Thacker. The Thacker, it's 100% all them, but that's not till October. You had mentioned in our earlier conversations that is going to be their proving ground. They're coming out, what, in the third quarter?
Third quarter of actually 2022 is when they'll actually get some mining done here in Thacker Pass. But third quarter down in Argentina, they'll get going. And that's in a partnership with Ganfeng Lithium out of China. So they got China down there helping them out. They own 49% of that mine. So they're working together to get that done, which is a good thing, because when you think about collaborating with China in this space, it's a great idea. Because they're just going to get shit done. That's just how they work.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have a lot more, I don't know about success, but they definitely, they're number 2 in terms of lithium produced for the world. So I guess you could define that as success. And the third quarter of this year is when the Cauchori project in Argentina is going to come to fruition. And basically, you've speculated to me that if that comes to fruition, then the players, the buyers of this stock, see that LAC now can do what they've set out to do, and that is actually mine. You had said that they're basically started out having a small mine operation, but they've closed that, and this is a much bigger scale. So they do have something to prove.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak on that in terms of stock price?
Yeah. So one of the things that stands out about LAC is right now they have a market cap of, I think it's like 2.4 billion or so. but looking at what they have, so that could grow. But as it stands today, as far as what they could make revenue wise, if everything goes well down in Argentina, they can make roughly $1 billion over the next 40 years. But it really depends on lithium prices. Obviously, those can go up or down, or if they get a long-term contract for 10, 15, 20 years from somebody like a Tesla or a Panasonic or something. You never know where that'll go, but it's looking like they'll make about $1 billion off that mine and 2.5 off of Thacker Pass. So seeing that it's going to take 40 years for them to make, $3.5 billion isn't too encouraging. But what's great is if they make this happen, they're going to be like a leading explorer / miner if they can prove that they can make these two large projects actually work.
And to piggyback on that, I think that's their mindset right now is to grow. On January 20th. Actually, it was on the 19th, and then on the 20th, the stock dropped. But I'm going to kind of guide us through this here. Yeah. On the 19th, the stock dropped. On the 20th, the stock dropped because on the 19th, LAC offered 15,909,000 shares as a public offering. And for those of you who don't understand how that works, in order to do research or to pay out dividends, but basically just to gather and acquire money, funding, if you will, stock companies, they will go ahead and offer more stock into the market. And so they went ahead, and that total amount at $22 each came out to $350 million. And that was snatched up, which dropped the price going back to when we started talking about this, me and you, it was at $18. On the 20th of January, it dropped. It had gone before that. It had gone all the way up to 27. Then it dropped back down and kind of has been fluctuating at the 24 to 20 level. It's currently at $21.32 as of this recording. So I think that's actually good news that it's dropped because everybody's purchased the actual offering. And that means that now they have $350 million LAC has to, what do you think they're going to do with that money? You think they're going to explore more?
Well, definitely, or just get their operations going. So like what you're talking about, why a company comes to the market in the first place is to gain capital because they don't have private investors to get it from the first place, more than likely. So they come to the public and they offer it up. So with those new shares, plus 2 days later, they actually offered another $400 million worth. So they got $750 million in the bank, which is a lot of money for exploring and to build out all the machinery needed to start the mining. To give you an example, down in Argentina, that mine cost the Chinese company, I think they put in about $600 million to get that going. So to think that a mine of that size, which is a little bit smaller than Thacker Pass, it's going to cost at least that, if not more, to get things going up here in Nevada, because wages up here are going to be more expensive, training's going to be more expensive, everything's more expensive. But then we also usually do things a lot better, which is a big plus. So knowing that they have $750 million cash on hand, they can make shit happen quick. They're not having to like leverage debt or anything like that. They have cash ready to go in the bank, which is exciting. So they can get these operations going up as fast as possible, as efficiently as possible, and more than likely have leftover money to find that next mine, wherever that might be.
And speaking of where that mine might be, I want to point the pro and the con of the location of your mine. Now, the con for Lithium Americas is, hey, the Chinese companies, they might be able to mine and sell it for cheaper, because they don't have the unionization that we do here in the U.S. and perhaps not as much overhead as we do in production. But nevertheless, you could make the point that where you want to tell us, Hacker Mine, what it's right next to, what company that vroom vroom.
They are a 3-hour drive from the Tesla Gigafactory. So I think Tesla already locked in somebody for the next few years, but that's actually not a bad thing because Lithium Americas will have their mine up and running and ready to supply a place like the Gigafactory. Be it the one here in Nevada or the new one in Texas, in 3 to 4 years, they'll be ready to rock and roll with giant stockpiles. They can pop on the rail here, which we have a lot of it, and send it, 3 hours down the road to Tesla.
Right, and that obviously is gonna reduce the overall cost to purchase it. Because shipping it from China versus 3 hours is obviously more expensive and cost inducive.
Yeah, rail's way cheaper than a boat.
Yeah. So that said, and then also in context, Tesla is They are backed up on sales orders 9 months at the Gigafactory last time I checked. So that plus subsidies from Biden, I think those will come back. I know they went out in 2020. They ran out. I think the car subsidies will come back. It's just going to, I believe, I'm speculating here, but I believe that Tesla, the Gigafactory, will just crank out at an exponential level as we go on in the years. So I'm definitely bullish on Lithium America for long term. I think our conversation is kind of provided a time frame. You're looking at third quarter, where perhaps on the success of the Argentinian mining factory, where LAC has a vested interest working together with China, we might see a sudden shoot up upon success and reported success of that. But overall, I think we're looking at investing in this for several years. Just hold on to it like a marriage, and 2-3 years down the line, maybe even 1 year, because there's always hype too. Once that third quarter kicks in, then people are going, okay, what's LAC doing now? In terms of diversification, ALB, Albemarle, I'm probably killing the pronunciation, and Livent, am I saying it right? Livent?
I think so. Livent, something
Livent,
like that.
tomato.
Maybe.
We'll go with Livent. That sounds more proactive, I mean, we can all rest when we're dead, right? But in the meantime, let's go with Livent. And so those on the ticker are going to trade at ALB and LTHM. Those are the two largest lithium producing companies in the United States. So if you believe that the environmental laws are not going to sway or not going to slow down the production of lithium in America, and if you want to go with a larger company that has more stability, that will have more government support due to the fact that they have employees that are taxpayers, and the government doesn't want to have that burden of cutting them down and letting them fall, because then that's unemployment and less tax money. You might want to invest, diversify not only with LAC, but with Livent, LTHM, and ALB. Anything else that you want to discuss on this? I think we've kind of covered the long term on this here.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think in about by the fall, we should have a better idea of where things are going. If they can make this Argentinian mine work, that's great news, and that should help raise the stock price. I mean, if the market is anything like it is now in the fall, which it may or may not be, I mean, people go crazy. They just start pumping money into it. So it might be a big jump come the fall, but we'll see.
Yeah, and as long as the Fed interest rate stays low, middle class and upper class America has nothing else to put their money in. So,
Sure.
and just keep watching that Fed interest rate and watch the market slowly climb. And let's hope for that we can mine some actual, dolores, as they say in Argentina. All right. Listen, Scott, any last words you want to add?
God, I wish I had some words of wisdom, but I'm not good at this part. Go for sun power, not sun jerks.
Yes, sun power, not sun jerks. That's for the space traders. We're going to have another, please follow and subscribe and like at our lovely channel, Space Traders. Our next video going to be coming up is going to be sun stocks. We have Sun Power versus Sunworks, and we've been tracking the market on that. Both are positive, but Sun Power is doing much better, and we're positive on that, aren't we, Scott, my partner on that?
That we are. We're in the lead after 3 days. We're gonna stomp out the other guys.
That's right, man. That's right. The sun is free, all right, for the rest of your life, as far as you know. All right. Thanks for your time, Scott. I appreciate it.
You too.
Everybody else, take care, and happy trading.
Later. See you guys.